You know the snow will slowly melt, but my love will never die.
50 missing children cases.
The disappearance of Morgan Nick Morgan was at a Little League baseball game with her mother, when she disappeared on June 9, 1995, while playing near her mother's Nissan Stanza. An unidentified Caucasian male, possibly 23 to 38 years old, was seen watching Morgan play on the field earlier that night. The suspect was described as having black or salt and pepper hair, a mustache, and a hairy chest. He may have been driving a red Ford pickup truck with a white camper shell. The truck was caught on a home video by a person recording the Little League ball games that night. 2 attempted abductions occurred in the general area on June 9 and 10, with the same man resembling Morgan's abductor. Authorities named Billy Jack Links as a primary person of interest in Morgan's abduction in 2021. Links, who died in prison in 2000, had ties to states adjacent to Arkansas, including Tennessee and Oklahoma. Authorities found hair and trace amounts of blood on a seat in Links's pickup truck, but there was not enough DNA to match anyone. Morgan has not been found, and the suspect and his possible vehicle remain unidentified. Missing since June 9, 1995. Missing from Alma, Arkansas. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: September 12, 1988. 35, age 6 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 0 inches. 55 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a green Girl Scouts t-shirt, blue denim shorts and white leather sneakers. Associated vehicle: red Ford pickup truck with windows covered with curtains, a dull paint job, a short wheelbase, a white camper shell 4 to 5 inches shorter than the truck, and possibly damage to the right rear end of the camper. The vehicle left the field's parking lot at approximately the same time Morgan disappeared. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Morgan had 5 visible silver caps on her molars at the time of her 1995 disappearance. The caps were scheduled to be removed in 2000. Her teeth were crowded at the time of her 1995 disappearance, and she would have needed orthodontic braces in adolescence. Morgan has a protruding purple vein on the lower left side of her rib cage. Alma Police Department 501-632-3930. Arkansas State Police 501-783-5195. Federal Bureau of Investigation 202-324-3000. The disappearance of Trenton Duckett. Trenton Duckett, a young boy who disappeared in August 2006, was last seen with his mother, Melinda M. Duckett, at Windermere Apartments in Leesburg, Florida. The parents were in a contentious relationship, with allegations of domestic violence and abuse. Melinda won a temporary restraining order against Joshua, who denies the allegations and has passed a polygraph test. Joshua's father, James Jimmy Duckett, is on death row in Florida and had been involved in a heated divorce and custody battle. Trenton had visited James on death row, and Melinda kept up correspondence with him. Authorities investigated whether Trenton's disappearance was related to his grandfather's crimes but found no evidence to support this theory. Melinda was found shot to death in her paternal grandparents' home in Lady Lake, Florida, 13 days after her son vanished. Her family cited the stress of her son's disappearance and media scrutiny as the reason for her suicide. She had a history of depression and 2 previous stays in mental hospitals, mostly recently in 2005. Melinda's parents filed a wrongful death lawsuit against Nancy Grace and CNN in December 2006. In November 2010, the lawsuit was settled out of court, and a $200,000 trust fund was set up to finance the search for Trenton. On September 21, police officially named Melinda as the prime suspect in Trenton's case, but they did not necessarily believe she had harmed him. Authorities investigated the possibility that Trenton had been sent to his mother's native South Korea, but no evidence was found. Missing since August 26, 2006. Missing from Leesburg, Florida. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: male. Race: Asian, biracial, white. Date of birth: August 10, 2004. 19, age 2 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 35 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a blue and green striped shirt, denim shorts, and a diaper. Associated vehicle: silver 2006 Mitsubishi Eclipse, accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: biracial, Asian/Caucasian, male, brown hair, brown eyes. Trenton is of Korean descent. Leesburg Police Department 352-787-2121. The disappearance of Haley Cummings. Haley Cummings, a 5-year-old girl, disappeared from her family's trailer in Satsuma, Florida, on February 9, 2009. Her father, Ronald Cummings, arrived home after work and discovered Haley missing. The police found no signs of forced entry to the trailer but were uncertain whether it was locked. Haley's younger brother claimed a man dressed in black had come to their home that night and taken his sister. An extensive search of the area turned up no sign of Haley. Haley's biological mother, Crystal Sheffield, married Ronald in March 2009, but filed for divorce in October 2009 due to irreconcilable differences. They had only been married for a short time and did not share any property or have children together. Ronald was given full custody of both children in December 2005, but had minor brushes with the law, mainly drug arrests, prior to Haley's disappearance. Misty and her older brother Hank Thomas Tommy Crossland Jr. later accused Joseph Joe Overstreet of kidnapping Haley. Overstreet denies any involvement in Haley's disappearance and has not been charged or named as a suspect. Authorities searched the St. Johns River in April 2010 and brought Misty to the dock, but the search yielded nothing of interest. Misty, Tommy, and Ronald were arrested on unrelated drug trafficking charges in January 2010, along with Ronald's cousin and a friend. All defendants except Misty pleaded guilty, with Ronald released in 2022 and Misty scheduled for release until at least 2031. Haley's case remains unsolved and is classified as a homicide. Missing since February 9, 2009. Missing from Satsuma, Florida. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: August 17, 2003. 20. Age: 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 39 pounds. Medical conditions: Haley has been diagnosed with Turner syndrome, a genetic disorder present in approximately 1 out of every 2,500 live female births. Turner syndrome's symptoms may include, but are not limited to, restricted growth of the long bones and ovaries, heart defects and vision problems, multiple birthmarks, and swollen fingers and toes. Most people with Turner syndrome don't grow to be more than 4.5 feet tall. Haley requires hormone treatments and monthly visits to a cardiologist and an endocrinologist due to her condition. She may be in need of medical attention. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, brown eyes. Haley's ears are pierced and she has red highlights in her hair. She has a round birthmark on the lower left side of her back, about 4 inches in size. She also has brown birthmarks on her left cheek and right jawline. Her nickname is Haley Bug. Haley is short for her age. She has a lazy left eye and she has chubby fingers and toes. Putnam County Sheriff's Office 386-329-0801. The disappearance of Sabrina Eisenberg. Sabrina disappeared from her family's home in Valrico, Florida on November 24, 1997. Her mother, Marlene Eisenberg, claimed she found the infant asleep in her crib and that she had never been seen again. Investigators found an unidentified blonde hair, shoe print, and 7 unidentified fingerprints inside the house. Neighbors reported several incidents involving possible break-ins in the area with small children. Sabrina's parents, Marlene and Steve, were suspected of being connected to their daughter's case. In September 1999, Sabrina's parents were indicted on conspiracy and additional charges. In February 2001, a judge found that investigators lied when seeking permission to place wiretaps in the Eisenbergs' residence. Steve and Marlene were cleared of all charges and the lead prosecutor was demoted in July 2001. Steve and Marlene's attorneys filed motions seeking the government to repay their clients' legal fees in August 2001, but the amount was later reduced to $1.30 to $1.5 million. They sued again, accusing their prosecutors of conspiring to deprive them of their civil rights, fabricating evidence, and lying about it. In 2004, a judge dismissed this suit, and a similar lawsuit against the sheriff's office was dropped by the Eisenbergs in 2006. In April 2003, the possibility was raised that Sabrina may be Paloma Unknown, an infant abandoned in May 1998. Paloma was taken across the Mexican border into Texas by a teenage female claiming to be her mother. A woman in Michigan noticed the resemblance between Sabrina and the missing baby's pictures, and Sabrina's parents agreed that Paloma did resemble their daughter. A DNA sample from Paloma did not match Sabrina's, and her case remains unsolved. Missing since November 24, 1997. Missing from Valrico, Florida. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: June 27, 1997. 26, age 4 months old. Height and weight: 2 feet 6 inches, 20 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a lavender sleeper with a floral pattern. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, blue eyes. Sabrina has several marks in the shape of the letter Y below her right shoulder. Her last name is pronounced Eisenberg. Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office 813-247-8200. The disappearance of Teresa Dean. Teresa Dean disappeared on August 15, 1999, walking down Lawrence Street near her family's single-wide trailer in Macon, Georgia. She claimed to be going to a friend's house to visit puppies, but no clues were found. Teresa's mother's former boyfriend, Cody Landers, lived with her family in 1999 and was indicted on 7 child molestation charges involving 2 children. Landers failed a polygraph test voluntarily shortly after Teresa's disappearance but claimed it was administered improperly. He is now in prison after pleading guilty to the charges. Teresa's case is believed to be connected to the abductions and murders of Heaven Ross from Northport, Alabama in 2003 and Shannon Nicole Polk from Prattville, Alabama in 2001. Both girls went missing during August from trailer parks, and construction workers were suspected in the cases. Shannon was found deceased 7 weeks after her disappearance, and Heaven's remains were not recovered until late December 2006, over 3 years after her disappearance. Both girls' murders remain unsolved and no hard evidence links them to Teresa's case. Missing since August 15, 1999. Missing from Macon, Georgia. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: September 20, 1987. 36, age 11 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 10 inches, 75 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a short-sleeved blue and white striped button-down shirt, orange pink or rust-colored knit pants, clear plastic gel-type sandals, and gold ball earrings. Medical conditions: Teresa may require medical attention for unspecified reasons. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, blue eyes. Teresa has a speech impediment. Her ears are pierced. Federal Bureau of Investigation 912-745-1271. Georgia Bureau of Investigation 912-987-4545. Twiggs County Sheriff's Department 912-945-3357. The disappearance of Michael Vaughn. Michael Joseph Vaughn, whose nickname is Monkey, is a little boy from Fruitland, Idaho, where lives with his mom Brandy, his dad Tyler, and his papa and his 2 sisters and 1 brother. Michael is a smart, funny, sweet 7-year-old boy. On July 27, 2021, when Michael was only 5 years old, he went out looking for kids to play with in his neighborhood. Only a few minutes after he went outside, he was abducted and has never been seen again. Michael's family wants answers. They also want Michael home where he belongs. His little sister Buggy misses him so much she will beg her mom to call Monkey. His older brother and sister miss him too. The Fruitland Police Chief J. D. Huff said in a press conference they have 4 suspects in the kidnapping of Michael Vaughn. The suspects are Sarah Wondra, her husband Stacy Wondra, along with 2 men who lived with them, Adrian Lucien and Brandon Shurtliff. J.D. Huff says all 4 suspects have first-hand knowledge of Michael's disappearance. Monkey will be 8 years old June 24, 2024. This will be his 3rd birthday that he is not home where he belongs. He has missed several other holidays as well as other events in his family. Missing since July 27, 2021. Missing from Fruitland, Idaho. Classification: non-family. Abduction. Sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: June 24, 2016. 7, age 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 7 inches, 40 to 50 pounds clothing/jewelry description: a light blue size 4 to 6 t-shirt with a Minecraft logo on it, dark blue or black spandex boxer shorts with lime green trim and a lime green Minecraft creeper, and dark blue size 11. Flip-flop sandals. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Michael's nickname is Monkey. Please, anyone with information about Michael's disappearance, submit tips to Fruitland Police Department, Idaho, 1-208-642-6006 or Crime Stoppers at 208-343-COPS, 208-343-2677, or email findmichael@fruitland.org. The disappearance of D'Our Coons Jr., a boy who disappeared in 2015, was last seen with his parents, Jessica Mitchell and Vernal D'Our Coons Sr., his great-grandfather, Robert Walton, and Isaac Rainwand at Timber Creek Campground in Lemhi County, Idaho. Mitchell called 911 after D'Our disappeared, and they searched the area for him for 20 minutes. D'Our's parents speculated he had been abducted, but police named them as suspects. Mitchell and D'Our Sr. had been engaged but ended their relationship after D'Our's disappearance. They have neither an arrest record. Investigators believe D'Our was killed intentionally or by accident, and his parents know where his body is. The sheriff stated that there was no credible witness to confirm seeing D'Our at the campground, and foul play is suspected. The case remains unsolved, and foul play is suspected. Missing since July 10, 2015. Missing from Lemhi County, Idaho. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: December 30, 2012. 11. Age: 2 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 28 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a camouflage print jacket, blue pajama pants, green and black checkered socks, and brown cowboy boots with a lighter brown camouflage print. A photo of the boots is posted with this case summary. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Blonde hair, brown eyes. D'Our's nickname is Little Man. He has a birthmark on the back of his neck. Lemhi County Sheriff's Office, 208-756-8980. The disappearance of John Gosch. John Gosch, a newspaper carrier in West Des Moines, Iowa, disappeared on September 5, 1982, while delivering his newspapers. He was accompanied by his dachshund, Gretchen, and his father, who usually accompanied him. The day before his disappearance, John asked to be allowed to do his route alone, but his parents wouldn't allow it. John was seen speaking to a male suspect while delivering his newspapers, and at 7 a.m., customers called his home, saying their newspapers hadn't been delivered. His parents thought John might have overslept, but when they checked his room, they realized he was gone. John's wagon, with the papers still inside, was found 2 blocks from his home. John's mother, Noreen Gosch, hired private investigators to investigate his disappearance, believing he was kidnapped and sold into a pedophile prostitution ring. She claimed that her son visited her Iowa apartment in 1997 with an unidentified male and stayed for over an hour. Noreen maintained that she had no further contact with her son since then, as she feared for his well-being. In 1999, a witness in an embezzlement trial claimed he had participated in John's abduction and that he himself was a victim of the same child sex ring that got John. However, police discovered the witness had been in Omaha, Nebraska on the date John disappeared. In August 2006, Noreen found photographs left by her home depicting 3 boys, one resembling John, bound and gagged. Other people connected the case reported receiving copies of the photos, either through the internet or anonymous deliveries. A Florida law enforcement officer had investigated the same photographs in the 1970s and identified all the boys pictured. Iowa police have yet to confirm the Florida investigators' account, but they believe whoever gave the photographs to Noreen may have been playing a cruel prank. Johnny's case remains unsolved. Missing since September 5, 1982. Missing from West Des Moines, Iowa. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: November 12, 1969, 54, age 12 years old. Height and weight: 5 feet 7 inches, 140 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a white sweatshirt with Kim's Academy imprinted on the back, black sweatpants or cut-off jeans, and blue rubber thong sandals. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Light brown hair, blue eyes. John has facial freckles. He had a gap between his upper front teeth at the time of his disappearance. John has a horseshoe-shaped scar on his tongue and a birthmark on his left cheek. His nickname is Johnny. West Des Moines Police Department 515-223-3211. The disappearance of Eugene Martin. Eugene Martin, a newspaper carrier, disappeared in Des Moines, Iowa, on August 12, 1984. He was preparing to deliver his morning paper route when he was last seen talking to a clean-cut man in his 30s. The man, who has never been identified, was engaged in friendly conversation with Eugene. Eugene's route manager reported that his newspaper sack had not been retrieved from the corner of Southwest 14th and Highview Streets. Eugene's father called authorities, but he has not been seen or heard from again. Gosh disappeared from the same area where Eugene was last seen in 1982. Both boys were newspaper carriers in the Des Moines area. Eugene enjoyed sports like football, fishing, skating, television, and video games. His father and stepmother divorced after his disappearance, and both of his parents are deceased. His case remains unsolved. Missing since August 12, 1984. Missing from Des Moines, Iowa. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: August 17, 1970, 53, age 13 years old. Height and weight: 5 feet 0 inches, 110 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a gray and white striped midriff t-shirt with red sleeves, blue jeans, and blue tracks. Sneakers with white diagonal stripes. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Brown hair, brown eyes. Eugene has a scar on his right knee. One of his wrists has a healed fracture. His nickname is Gene. Des Moines Police Department 515-283-4864. The disappearance of Mark Allen. Mark, a teenager, disappeared on March 29, 1986, in Des Moines, Iowa. He lived with his mother and 2 siblings on Southwest Emma Avenue. On the day of his disappearance, he told his mother he was going to walk to a friend's home and possibly see a movie. He never arrived at his friend's home. Mark's mother didn't realize he was missing until the next morning. After calling his grandmother and friends, they didn't see him. The police refused to open an investigation until 48 hours had passed. Mark was raised by his grandmother in Connecticut, then moved to Des Moines, Minnesota, and then back to his mother in 1985. His mother described him as intelligent but had behavioral problems. Police initially believed he had run away, but they began to explore other theories. His case remains unsolved and is now classified as a non-family abduction. Mark's case remains unsolved. Missing since March 29, 1986. Missing from Des Moines, Iowa. Classification: endangered. Missing: sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: May 13, 1972, 52, age 13 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 11 inches, 5 feet 0 inches, 90 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a light blue t-shirt, blue denim shorts, white socks, and gray sneakers with Velcro fastenings. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Brown hair, blue eyes. Mark has a small scar on the top of his head. His first name may be spelled Mark. He may be called Mark James Allen by some agencies. Des Moines Police Department 515-283-4811. The disappearance of Jackie Hay. Jackie disappeared from her home in Topeka, Kansas, after playing with her step-siblings and other children. Her family discovered her missing on September 12, 1981, and she was last seen walking away from the Colfax and Golf Park. She was apparently being followed by a man at the time. Authorities did not begin searching for Jackie for 4 hours after her disappearance was reported. Police later found a local man who matched the description of the man seen following Jackie. They questioned him for hours about her disappearance but released him without charge. Jackie lived with her parents and 4 older step-siblings and was a bright child with a large vocabulary. Her mother died in 2007, but her father is still alive. Authorities believe she was most likely abducted, but few clues are available in her case. Jackie's case remains unsolved. Missing since September 12, 1981. Missing from Topeka, Kansas. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: February 17, 1976, 48, age 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 6 inches, 45 pounds clothing/jewelry description: blue pants and a white knit shirt with orange and lavender flowers. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Jackie has freckles across the bridge of her nose and one small freckle between her right thigh and pelvis. She had a small cavity between her upper front teeth at the time of her 1981 disappearance. She has a small scar along her right eyebrow, and her hair was cut in a Dutch boy style at the time of her disappearance. Topeka Police Department 785-368-9551. The disappearance of Alia Reynolds. Isla Reynolds, a 12-year-old girl, disappeared from her home in Waterville, Maine, on December 16, 2011. Her father, Justin DiPietro, and his sister, girlfriend, and 2 children were at the residence when Isla disappeared. Authorities believe that Justin has not been cooperative with the investigation and that the adults present are withholding information. Isla's blood was found in multiple places in Justin's home, including his first-floor bedroom and basement bedroom, where he slept with his girlfriend and their child. Trista Reynolds, Isla's mother, filed for sole custody 2 months before Isla went missing. In April 2012, police discovered unspecified items of interest behind the Hathaway Creative Center in the Kennebec River. Authorities publicly believed she was dead but did not believe she had been abducted. Isla was declared legally dead in 2017 and died around the time she was reported missing. In December 2018, Trista filed a wrongful death suit against Justin, seeking unspecified monetary damages to recover her body. Justin maintained his innocence and denied any wrongdoing in Isla's disappearance. In 2022, the suit expanded to include Phoebe DiPietro and sister Alicia DiPietro as defendants. Trista alleges that the women played a role in Isla's death and the subsequent cover-up. No one has been named as a suspect in Isla's disappearance, and her case remains unsolved. Missing since December 16, 2011. Missing from Waterville, Maine. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: April 4, 2010. 14. Age: 1 year. Old. Height and weight: 2 feet 9 inches. 30 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: green onesie pajamas with white polka dots and Daddy's Princess written on the front. A photo of a similar outfit is posted with this case summary. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Isla's left arm was in a sling with a soft splint at the time of her disappearance. Waterville Police Department 207-872-5551. Maine State Police 207-624-7076. The disappearance of Ryan Larson. Ryan, a 6th grader at La Vista West Elementary School, disappeared on May 17, 2021. He was not supervised and left the school campus without supervision. The school notified his mother that he was missing, and police arrived 5 minutes later. A neighbor saw Ryan at Southfield Apartments, where he lived with his mother and one older sister. Ryan had a history of running away and hiding due to his autism, and he had been enrolled in Project Lifesaver, which equips vulnerable people with GPS tracking bracelets for their safety. However, Ryan repeatedly cut off the tracker and eventually stopped wearing it. Ryan's family describes him as a happy boy who enjoyed helping others, such as his school janitor. His father was never part of his life, but he had 2 other older sisters who were grown and out of the family home by the time of his disappearance. Before his disappearance, Ryan had searched online for ways to hide underground, avoid being spotted, and hide from police. Extensive searches have turned up no indication of his whereabouts. In early 2023, Ryan's mother, Tammy Larson, petitioned the court to have him declared legally dead, arguing it was unlikely he was still alive due to his autism and other medical issues. She intended to file a claim against the Papillion La Vista Public School District for Ryan's wrongful death. However, a judge threw out her petition in April 2023, saying there wasn't enough evidence to conclude Ryan was deceased. Instead, Tammy sued the school district for violating her son's civil rights, filing a federal lawsuit that was dismissed in November 2023. In May 2024, Tammy's state lawsuit was also dismissed. Under Nebraska state law, a person is presumed dead if they have been missing without explanation for 5 years. If Ryan is not found by May 2026, his mother can have him declared dead at that time. His case remains unsolved. Missing since May 17, 2021. Missing from La Vista, Nebraska. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: June 8, 2009. 14. Age: 11 years old. Height and weight: 5 feet 8 inches, 125 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a black and gray zippered hooded sweatshirt or sweat jacket with orange lining inside the hood, an Old Navy shirt, blue jeans, and black New Balance sneakers. Carrying a polka dot umbrella which was later found. A photo of Ryan in the sweatshirt is posted with this case summary. Medical conditions: Ryan has autism, Tourette's syndrome, and epilepsy, and needs medication which he doesn't have with him. Although he's considered high-functioning, he is usually nonverbal with strangers, and he has a history of running and hiding in small places. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Brown hair, hazel eyes. La Vista Police Department 402-331-1582. The disappearance of Terry Price. On June 11, 2020, Latresa Tayrees was last seen on the Platte River near Scram Park State Recreation Area with her family. The family was working on a home remodel and had invited her sister earlier that day. When they reached the riverbank, Latresa found a sandbar to put their belongings down. Tayrees and her 11 and 12-year-old cousins soon headed further east on the river, and at some point, the three girls ended up in the water, swept downstream. The following minutes were filled with frenzied phone calls to 911 as the family and witnesses tried to determine how many children had been pulled ashore and who was still in the water. Kira, an 11-year-old girl, was pulled to safety by a kayaker. She stood on the riverbank with a woman who was on the phone with a 911 operator, trying to describe the scene and their location. As the sun set without any sightings of Tayrees, multiple agencies converged on the river, searching with optimism that she would be found alive. The next morning, Latresa stood on the same riverbank, surrounded by family members and a sheriff's chaplain. Lieutenant Dennis Svoboda with the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office announced that it was unlikely Tayrees had survived given the amount of time she had been missing and the heat. 3 years later, Svoboda is still looking. Last month, he and investigator Dana Heron navigated an airboat toward Scram Park on the Platte River. The river is wide and its current in places is deceivingly fast, and the river is scattered with hundreds of debris piles both above and below its surface. Owning an airboat wouldn't have changed the outcome in Tayrees' case, but it adds another tool in their toolbox to help them with routine patrols on the river and in emergency situations. The river's constantly shifting sands and unpredictable depths make navigation difficult. The Price family, Latresa and Tia Blow, were searching for their daughter Tayrees Price after her disappearance on the Platte River in Nebraska. On August 21, 2020, around 30 people fanned out across the river to search on foot or by kayak, checking as many brush piles as they could find, mostly searching through half-buried debris by hand. Despite the effort, no sign of Tayrees was found. The months that followed were filled with desperation as the race to find Tayrees before winter set in. The couple posted photos of Tayrees on telephone poles along the Platte River, with her name, Tayrees Price, and the words missing and last seen on the Platte River at Scram Park in Gretna, Nebraska. In October 2020, a search and rescue organization based in Kearney rallied volunteers for a 2-day search effort. Marcus Ditchman of Nighthawk Search and Rescue launched the search with help from volunteers and high-tech equipment, including drones and sonar. By November, deputies with the Sarpy County Sheriff's Office had been on the river 32 times, and officers from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission had been out 44 times, searching for the little girl. However, the winter of 2020 set in without new discoveries. 3 years later, Svoboda remains hopeful that Tayrees can someday be found. He takes time to search for Tayrees whenever he's on the Platte, which is a common occurrence in recent years. The Price family now lives in Colorado, a move Latresa and Tia Blow made about 8 months ago. They were looking for a fresh start, away from the sandbanks of the Platte River where they had spent hundreds of days searching for their daughter. Missing since June 11, 2020. Missing from Gretna, Nebraska. Classification: lost/injured. Missing sex: female. Race: biracial, black, white. Date of birth: March 29, 2013. 11, age 7 years old, height and weight 4 feet 0 inches, 70 pounds, clothing/jewelry description: a pink and white bathing suit, possibly holding a life jacket. Distinguishing characteristics: biracial, African American/Caucasian, female, black hair, brown eyes. Therese nickname is Juicy. Sarpy County Sheriff's Office 402-593-4111. The disappearance of Dulce Alaves. Dulce Alave Perez, a 5-year-old girl, disappeared at Bridgeton City Park in Bridgeton, New Jersey, on September 16, 2019. Her mother, Noema Alave Perez, had gone to the park with Dulce, her 3-year-old brother Manuel, and Noema's 8-year-old sister. They stopped for ice cream before playing on the playground. Manuel ran up to the car crying, and when asked where Dulce was, he pointed to the spot where he last saw her. Dulce has never been heard from again. After a search of the surrounding area, Noema called the police at 4:51 p.m. Police interviewed witnesses at the park and identified a light-skinned man, possibly Hispanic, about 5 feet 6 inches to 5 feet 8 inches tall with a thin build. He was wearing a black shirt, red pants, and orange sneakers, possibly Nike brand. He put Dulce into a red van with a sliding door and tinted windows and left the park with her. Another man, identified as a possible witness, was also identified as Hispanic, 30 to 35 years old, and 5 feet 7 inches with a slender build. Dulce's father was in Sinaloa, Mexico at the time of her disappearance, but he hadn't been part of her life since moving to Mexico when she was 3. Neither her father, her mother, nor any other members of Dulce's family have been named as suspects in her case. Authorities believe Dulce may have been abducted by an opportunistic predator at the park. She had just started kindergarten at Buckshootum Road Elementary School about a week prior to her disappearance. Her case remains unsolved. Missing since September 16, 2019. Missing from Bridgeton, New Jersey. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: Hispanic. Date of birth: April 25, 2014. 10. Age: 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 5 inches, 60-70 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a yellow t-shirt with a stylized image of an elephant in white on the front, black and white checked pants with a pattern of flowers, and white sandals. A photo of Dulce on the day of her disappearance, and a photo of the shirt is posted with this case summary. Many reports incorrectly state the image of on the shirt was a koala bear rather than an elephant. Distinguishing characteristics: Hispanic female, black hair, brown eyes. Bridgeton Police Department 856-451-0033. Federal Bureau of Investigation 800-225-5324. The disappearance of Asha Degree. Asha, a quiet and shy girl, disappeared from her home in Shelby, North Carolina in 2000. She was last seen inside her room at around 2:30 a.m. on February 14, 2000. Her father went to sleep, and her older brother assumed she was asleep. Asha's mother discovered her missing at 6:30 a.m., and authorities immediately summoned authorities. 2 truck drivers reported seeing Asha walking south on Highway 18 north of Shelby between 3:30 and 4:15 a.m., about a mile from her home. Asha left the highway at this point and walked off into the darkness. She may have been sighted getting into a distinctive dark green early 1970s model car, thought to be either a Lincoln Mark IV or a Ford Thunderbird. Investigators believe Asha left her residence of her own accord, as she is described as quiet, shy, and a good student with a happy home life. Her reasons for leaving are unclear, but her family said she calmed down within a few hours. Asha's 4th grade class at Falston Elementary School read The Whipping Boy by Sid Fleischman in February 2000, which centers around the story of a prince and a commoner child who receive lashes on the royal's behalf. The book details their adventures, and it is unknown if the book served as a catalyst for Asha's disappearance. Asha's black book bag and black Tweety Bird purse were missing from her room, along with a pair of blue jeans, black sneakers, a long-sleeved white shirt with purple lettering, a red vest with black trim, black overalls with Tweety Bird on them, and a long-sleeved black and white shirt. All doors to the house were found locked, and Asha kept her house key in the book bag. In August 2001, a contractor uncovered Asha's book bag, which had her name and telephone number written on it, buried off Highway 18 more than 26 miles from her family's home. The bag was sent to a federal laboratory for testing, but authorities never released the results due to pending investigation. Unconfirmed reports state the bag contained Asha's name on a piece of paper, clothing, and a pencil case. Missing since February 14, 2000. Missing from Shelby, North Carolina. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race black, date of birth August 5, 1990, 33, age 9 years old, height and weight 4 feet 6 inches, 60 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: possibly a white nightshirt with a teddy bear on it, acid wash or white jeans, and white size 3 Nike sneakers. Carrying a Tweety Bird purse and a black backpack. Associated vehicle: dark green early 1970s model Lincoln Mark IV or Ford Thunderbird with rust around the wheel wells. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female. Black hair, brown eyes. Asha may style her hair in pigtails. Her name is pronounced Aisha. Cleveland County Sheriff's Office 704-484-4822. The disappearance of Madeline Kojokari. Madalina, a girl who disappeared on November 21, 2022, was last seen on surveillance video outside her home in Cornelius, North Carolina. Her mother, Diana Kojokari, claimed she last saw her on November 22, but later changed her story to November 23, when the child went to bed. Her stepfather, Christopher Palmiter, argued with Diana and left town for Michigan to pick up items. When Christopher returned home, he asked Diana where Madalina was, and both accused each other of hiding her. In early December, Diana made a trip to Madison County, North Carolina to look for Madalina. On December 12, a school resource officer and 6th grade school counselor visited Madalina's home to find out why she had not been attending school. No one answered the door, and they left a truancy information packet. The counselor later called Diana and asked her to meet the officer at school, but she arrived without Madalina and said she hadn't seen her since November 22. On December 17, both Diana and Christopher were arrested for failure to report the disappearance of a child. Diana pleaded guilty in May 2024 and was sentenced to time served. Her felony conviction means she is likely to be deported to her native Moldova, as she is not a naturalized U.S. citizen but has a green card. Diana and her mother, Rodica Kojokari, have accused Christopher of selling Madalina to child traffickers for $5 million. Rodica claimed that Christopher had drugged Diana and Madalina's juice and then took Madalina from the home and gave her over to traffickers while she was unconscious. Christopher believes Madalina may still be alive, but the circumstances of her disappearance are unclear. Madalina has passports for Moldova and Romania, and both documents were found in Diana's car after her disappearance. Her case remains unsolved. Missing since November 21, 2022. Missing from Cornelius, North Carolina. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race white, date of birth April 11, 2011, 13, age 11 years old, height and weight 4 feet 11 inches, 90 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a jacket, a white t-shirt, jeans and pink, purple, and white Adidas shoes. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Cornelius Police Department 704-892-1363. The disappearance of Kieran Horman. Kieran, a second grader from Portland, Oregon, disappeared on June 4, 2010. His stepmother, Terry Lynn Moulton Horman, drove him to school for a science fair and set up his exhibit. Kieran was last seen at Skyline Elementary School, where he was last seen at 3:45 p.m., but no one reported seeing him again. Police launched an extensive search, which was one of the largest in Oregon history. Kieran's parents, Kane Andrew Horman and Desiree Young, have been divorced since 2003 and raised him from infancy. Kieran's parents had a 1-year-old daughter, Kiara Ariel Horman, and a teenage son from a previous marriage. Less than 2 weeks after Kieran's disappearance, police upgraded his case from a simple missing child to a criminal investigation. They focused on Terry, as she was not where she said she was on the day of her stepson's disappearance. Kane filed for divorce and a restraining order from Terry, believing she was responsible for Kieran's disappearance in addition to the attempted murder for hire. A judge barred Terry from contacting Kane, Kieran, Kiera, or her own teenage son. Kane sought custody of Kiera and child support from Terry, accusing her of attempting to abduct Kiera, beginning an affair with another man, and sharing sensitive information with the man. Desiree filed a lawsuit against Terry, accusing her of kidnapping Kieran and seeking $10 million in damages. The Hormans' divorce is pending. Authorities have yet to name a suspect in Kieran's disappearance, despite their focus on his stepmother. Kieran has never been found and his case remains unsolved. Missing since June 4, 2010. Missing from Portland, Oregon. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: September 9, 2002. 21. Age: 7 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 8 inches. 50 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a black t-shirt with CSI in green lettering and a handprint image on the front, size 7 black cargo pants, white Hanes athletic socks and worn size 11 black Skechers sneakers with orange trim. Medical conditions: Kieran is allergic to bee stings. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Brown hair, blue eyes. Kieran wears metal-framed eyeglasses. Multnomah County Sheriff's Office 503-823-3333. The disappearance of Serenity Denord. Serenity, a child with emotional and behavioral issues, disappeared from the Black Hills Children's Home, BHCH, in Rapid City, South Dakota, on February 3, 2019. She was playing in the gym with 3 other children when 2 staff members tasked with watching the children were tasked with watching Serenity. Serenity was last seen walking northbound on Rockerville Road at 11 a.m. She was not wearing a coat in the sub-zero temperatures. Serenity had a history of trauma and behavioral issues, and her parents believed she was making good progress. The BHCH's policy required staff to notify emergency responders within a reasonable time if a child went missing. After Serenity disappeared, the staff did not call 911 until 12:26 p.m., which was an hour and 41 minutes after her disappearance. The facility faced criticism for its handling of Serenity's disappearance, with the State Department of Social Services and the Federal Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services investigating. The state gave the BHCH a corrective action plan, stating that staff should call 911 immediately after a child disappeared. The search for Serenity has turned into a recovery effort, as she could not have survived for more than a few nights outside in the extremely cold temperatures. Her case remains unsolved. Missing since February 3, 2019. Missing from Rapid City, South Dakota. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: May 12, 2009. 15. Age: 9 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 7 inches, 4 feet 9 inches, 96 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a long-sleeved gray flowered shirt, a purple tank top, dark blue stone-washed jeans and black snow boots. Medical conditions: Serenity has been diagnosed with severe reactive attachment disorder, disruptive mood dysregulation disorder and other psychological problems. As a result of her conditions, she suffers from behavioral problems, including running away and threats of self-harm. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Pennington County Sheriff's Office 605-394-6115. The disappearance of Summer Wells. Summer Wells disappeared from her home in Rogersville, Tennessee, on June 15, 2021. Her family claims she went to the basement to play but never returned. An extensive search found no sign of her, but search dogs tracked her scent. Authorities have been investigating a truck seen in the area, a red or maroon 1998 to 2000 Toyota Tacoma, and her family's involvement. Summer's parents, Donald Wells and Candace Bly, have been arrested for domestic violence. Summer's older brothers were removed from the family home, and authorities haven't named anyone as a suspect. Summer's aunt, Rose Bly, disappeared from Wisconsin in 2009 and remains unsolved. Missing since June 15, 2021. Missing from Rogersville, Tennessee. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: February 4, 2016. 8. Age: 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 40 pounds clothing/jewelry description: a pink shirt, gray pants or shorts, and possibly no shoes or socks. Associated vehicle, AS, red or maroon 1998 to 2000 Toyota Tacoma with a full bed ladder rack and white buckets in the bed. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Hawkins County Sheriff's Office. 423-272-7121. The disappearance of Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers, a 15-year-old autistic teen, went missing from his mother's Hendersonville home 3 months ago. Authorities have not found any signs of Sebastian or seen him on surveillance cameras. Investigators are still following up on tips, but the investigation has been at a dead end. In early May, investigators found a pair of pants believed to belong to Sebastian but ruled them out as evidence. His father, Seth Rogers, hired private investigators to search for his son, but the case remains unsolved. The elder Rogers has started a petition to get the Federal Bureau of Investigation to take over the investigation from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. Missing since February 26, 2024. Date of birth December 7, 2008. Missing from Hendersonville, Tennessee. Age now 15. Sex male. Race white hair color brown eye color brown. Height 5 feet 5 inches. Weight 120 pounds. Description: last seen wearing a black sweatshirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. Please contact the Sumner County Emergency Communications Center at 615-451-3838 or the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. The disappearance of Tabitha Tudors. Tabitha, a straight-A student with a perfect attendance record and no evidence of a boyfriend, disappeared on April 29, 2003, in Nashville, Tennessee. Her parents reported her missing shortly before 6 p.m. She was supposed to visit the Six Flags of America amusement park in Louisville, Kentucky 2 weeks after her disappearance. Authorities initially treated her as a runaway due to her age but now believe she was abducted. A neighborhood boy told police he saw Tabitha get into a red car with a man on the morning of her disappearance. Tracker dogs traced Tabitha's scent along a route similar to the one described by the witness. Tabitha's sister's former boyfriend matches the description of the driver, but police have never been able to connect him to her disappearance. A piece of paper found in Tabitha's room may have some connection to her case. A business card with Tabitha's name, address, phone number, and notations "Call me" and "Sexy Girl," the latter of which was crossed out and rewritten as "Ghetto Girl," had no connection to her disappearance. Police searched the logs of a computer at the local public library where Tabitha is said to have visited internet chat rooms but turned up no information pertaining to her disappearance. A man arrested for trying to lure an 11-year-old girl into his car was looked at as a person interested in her case, but there is no evidence connecting the man and Tabitha. On October 30, 2003, a trucker reported a possible sighting of Tabitha from Linton, Indiana. A hotel clerk in Linton also saw a girl resembling Tabitha with a man and another teenage girl and reported it. These sightings have not been confirmed. In August 2003, an 11-year-old girl named Heaven Ross disappeared while on her way to school in Northport, Alabama. Her remains were found in Holt, Alabama 3 years after her disappearance. Her murder remains unsolved. Missing since April 29, 2003. Missing from Nashville, Tennessee. Classification: endangered. Missing sex female. Race white. Date of birth February 15, 1990. 34. Age 13 years old. Height and weight 4 feet 9 inches, 5 feet 1 inch, 90 to 100 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a light blue shirt, mud jeans, and Reebok sneakers. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Sandy blonde hair, blue eyes. Tabitha has a birthmark on her abdomen and a scar on her finger. Her ears are pierced and she has a fair, freckled complexion. Nashville Metro Police Department 615-862-8600. The disappearance of Lena Kill. Lena, a refugee from Afghanistan, was last seen playing at a playground in San Antonio, Texas, on December 20, 2021. Her mother left for a short time, and when she returned, Lena was gone. Lena and her family, who arrived in the U.S. in 2019, lived in the Villas del Cabo apartment complex with their brother. Lena's parents initially believed a refugee family was taking care of her, but when they couldn't locate her, they called the police. The family has cooperated with the police and is not considered suspects. The case remains unsolved, suggesting Lena was abducted by a non-family member. Missing since December 20, 2021. Missing from San Antonio, Texas. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race Asian. Date of birth: February 20, 2018. 6. Age 3 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 0 inches, 55 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a red long-sleeved dress, a black jacket, black shoes, blue and gold tone plastic bangle bracelets, gold earrings, and a toys, an amulet with verses from the Quran, around her neck. Photos of Lena in the clothes and jewelry she wore on the day she went missing, and a photo of the toys, are posted with this case summary. Distinguishing characteristics: Asian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Lena's ears are pierced. She was born in Afghanistan and speaks Pashto. San Antonio Police Department 210-207-7273. The disappearance of Ariana Day. Ariana, a 3-month-old girl, disappeared from her home in Roanoke, Virginia on September 11, 2018. Her mother, Jessica Day, reported that she put her down to sleep, and when she returned an hour later, the baby was gone. She called the police at 11 p.m., but they found no signs of forced entry. The following day, Andrew Christopher Terry was arrested and charged with illegal disposal of a body in Ariana's disappearance. Terry lived in Blacksburg, Virginia with his girlfriend and their 2 children, but had been seeing Jessica off and on for years. Jessica had filed for custody of her daughter and child support from Terry. On the day of Ariana's disappearance, Terry came by her apartment, put the baby down for a nap, left for work, breastfed Ariana, and left the baby sleeping on her mother's bed. She returned to her bedroom at 10 p.m. and found her 6-year-old asleep on the bed, but Ariana was gone. Jessica smelled cigarette smoke in the bedroom and immediately called him and asked where he had taken Ariana. He said he didn't have her. After several phone calls and emails, Jessica called the police. Terry gave a different account of the crucial hours around Ariana's disappearance, saying he went back to Jessica's apartment after he finished work, met her out front with Ariana, and told him to take her. He drove towards Blacksburg, where Ariana stopped breathing and tried to revive her but failed. Terry claimed he took exit 128 off Interstate 81 in Ironto, Virginia, and continued driving towards Blacksburg, digging a shallow grave for Ariana with his hands. Terry was tried for felony illegal disposal of a body in September 2019, a year after Ariana's disappearance. Jessica testified for the defense, admitting she had given false statements about her daughter's disappearance and suffered from memory lapses. She also admitted she had called Terry's defense attorney in 2019 to say Ariana was alive and well and suggested she gave her to her cousin. Location data from Terry's cellular phone tracked his route from Roanoke to Blacksburg that night, showing a pause around the intersection of Jennell Road and Cedar Run Road for 6 minutes. The jury was unable to reach a verdict, and Terry will have to be tried again. Although police believe Ariana is deceased, the circumstances of her death remain uncertain, and both parents remain persons of interest. Missing since September 11, 2018. Missing from Roanoke, Virginia. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race black, date of birth May 28, 2018. 6. Age 3 months old, height and weight 2 feet 0 inches, 14 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a pink onesie and pink socks. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female. Black hair, brown eyes. Roanoke Police Department 540-853-5959. The disappearance of Oakley Carlson. Oakley, a 4-year-old girl, disappeared in February 2021 in Oakville, Washington. She lived with her parents, Andrew Carlson and Jordan Bowers, and siblings. A fire damaged their home in November 2021, but the couple did not report it. On November 10, Swift visited Oakley's house and found her missing. She was told that she was being punished and had been confined to her room. 2 weeks later, Swift visited again to drop off supplies, but she didn't see Oakley. On December 4, Oakley's sister came to Swift's house for a sleepover, and she said Oakley had gone to live with her previous foster parents. The police found no sign of Oakley or any evidence of her recent residence. Oakley's siblings said they were instructed not to talk about her, and her sister said Jordan told her Oakley had gone into the woods and been eaten by wolves. Jordan and Andrew were arrested on suspicion of manslaughter but not charged. Instead, they were charged with second-degree abandonment of a dependent person, which was not Oakley but her 6-year-old sister. They were also charged with 2 counts of child endangerment with a controlled substance, for exposing their children to methamphetamine. In March 2022, Andrew pleaded guilty to the charges against him and was sentenced to 12 months in prison. In April, Jordan pleaded guilty to the same charges and was sentenced to 20 months in prison. In January 2023, she was arrested and charged with fraud and identity theft. Oakley had been raised by a foster family from the age of 7 months due to substance abuse problems. She was returned to her biological parents in 2019, and her former foster parents have been active in the search for her. An extensive search of the 300-acre property showed no indication of her whereabouts, but police found blood on the front door and blinds. Police believe it is likely the child is dead, but the investigation is still ongoing. Oakley has not been found, and her case remains unsolved. Missing since February 10, 2021. Missing from Oakville, Washington. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: December 6, 2016. 7. Age: 4 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 50 pounds. Associated vehicle: S. Silver 2012 Chevrolet Suburban LT with the license plate numbered BTX 3380. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Grays. Harbor Sheriff's Office 360-533-8765. The disappearance of Tika Lewis. Tika, a young girl, disappeared on January 23, 1999, while playing a race car video game in a bowling alley in Tacoma, Washington. Her mother, Teresa English, claimed she turned away for a moment and the child vanished. An extensive search of the area yielded few clues. A witness at the alley reported an unidentified maroon Pontiac Grand Am with 4 doors and dark-tinted windows. Another witness suggested an unidentified Caucasian man may have followed a child to the alley's exits. In November 1998, a 4-year-old boy was sexually molested in the bathroom at New Frontier Lanes. A few weeks later, a Caucasian man tried to lure a 6-year-old boy from the same alley, claiming he was the child's father. Earlier that day, a man with curly brown hair attempted to take 2 children from a park less than a mile from the alley. The children's father chased him away and fled in a blue 1995 Pontiac Grand Am. Tika's biological father was imprisoned at the time of her disappearance and has been ruled out as a suspect in her case. Foul play is suspected in her case, which remains unsolved. Missing since January 23, 1999. Missing from Tacoma, Washington. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: biracial, black, Native American. White. Date of birth: July 4, 1996. 27. Age: 2 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 35 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a green Tweety Bird sweatshirt or t-shirt, white sweatpants, and black and white Air Jordan sneakers, hair pulled into ponytails. Carrying a clear purse with a fish design, containing Starburst candies. Medical conditions: Tika is asthmatic and requires medical supervision, as well as usage of an inhaler and/or ventilator. Tika received medical care prior to her 1999 disappearance at Indian Health Practitioners in Puyallup, Washington, a nationwide clinic available for Native Americans. Associated vehicle: S. Maroon 4-door late 1980s or early 1990s model Pontiac Grand Am with dark-tinted windows and a large spoiler. Distinguishing characteristics: multiracial female. Black hair, brown eyes. Tika is of African American, Caucasian and Native American descent. She has a large birthmark on her left buttock and red natural highlights in her hair. She has patches of light discoloration on her face and the left side of her buttocks as the result of eczema. Tika has facial dimples and pierced ears. Tacoma Police Department 253-798-4721 Federal Bureau of Investigation 202-324-3000 The disappearance of Elijah Vu on February 20. Jesse Vang, the boyfriend of Elijah Vu, called 911 to report him missing. The Two Rivers police chief said it had been hours since Vang saw Elijah inside his apartment on Mishicot Road in Two Rivers, which led to a 24-hour, round-the-clock operation to find him. Boats, ATVs, and drones were launched, and Elijah's family called for help immediately. On February 26, both Vang and Elijah's mother, Bauer, were officially charged with child neglect. Elijah had been with Vang since February 12 for disciplinary reasons to help with supposed bad behavior. Bauer wanted Vang to teach Elijah how to be a man. The detailed punishment in the criminal complaint includes tactics of standing for 1 to 3 hours at a time and being threatened with cold water if he failed. Cell phone data legally gathered by investigators shows that Bauer visited Elijah twice while he was with Vang, including on February 14, where a photo of Elijah lying on a bed was taken. The photo was deleted about an hour later. Surveillance photos captured Elijah and Vang at an auto shop in Two Rivers, and on February 20, Elijah is reported missing. 8 weeks of searching have been conducted, with little clues made public about what might have happened. Investigators found Elijah's blanket about 3.7 miles from where he was reported missing, followed up on over 1,500 tips and leads, and scanned through more than 10,000 video files. A vehicle of interest in the case is a beige 1997 Nissan Altima with a plate starting with the letter A and ending with the number 0. The Two Rivers police chief stated that they have no evidence to believe that Elijah was abducted or that he was simply walking off. However, he believes Elijah is still close to Two Rivers and has no plans to stop looking. Elijah has not been found. Missing since February 20, 2024. Missing from Two Rivers, Wisconsin. Age now 3. Sex male. Hair color sandy. Eye color brown. Height 3. Weight 50 pounds. Description: gray sweatpants, long sleeve dark colored shirt, red and green dinosaur slip-on shoes, birthmark on left knee. Two Rivers Police Department 844-267-6648. The disappearance of Alexis Patterson. Alexis Patterson, a first-grade student in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, disappeared on May 3, 2002, after being walked to Highmount Boulevard School by her stepfather, Laren. She never attended classes during the day and was seen crying on the playground before and after school. Ayanna and Laren were not notified about Alexis's absence until after her school dismissal, believing she refused to attend due to an argument with her mother. Authorities believed something may have caused her disappearance after she was seen crying on the playground later in the day. The surrounding areas were searched immediately after her disappearance, but no evidence was found at any of the locations. Investigators announced that Alexis disappeared under suspicious circumstances and reclassified her case from a missing child to a criminal investigation by May 14. Some of Alexis's classmates reported seeing a red truck parked near the school for most of the week before her disappearance, which has not been identified and is unknown if it is connected to her case. Alexis's father, Kenya Campbell, was imprisoned in Milwaukee at the time of her disappearance but was released shortly afterwards and cooperated with authorities. Alexis's stepfather also has a criminal history, but investigators did not believe either Laren or Campbell's pasts were connected to her case. Laren failed a polygraph test after Alexis's disappearance and was charged in an unrelated crime in 2003, a year after her disappearance. Ayanna described Laren as abusive and threatening towards her, but the criminal charges were later dropped. Ayanna and Laren divorced in 2005, and Laren died in 2021 of a drug overdose. Foul play was suspected in Alexis's case, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Missing since May 3, 2002. Missing from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Classification: endangered. Missing sex female, race black, date of birth April 4, 1995, 29, age 7 years old, height and weight 3 feet 8 inches, 42 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a hooded red pullover nylon jacket with a gray stripe running down each sleeve, a light purple blouse or a blue shirt with horizontal stripes, light blue jeans, blue and white high-top Nike sneakers and cluster-type diamond sunflower-shaped earrings with yellow gold posts. Carrying a pink Barbie book bag. Her hair was styled in 2 French braids which were pulled back into a ponytail. Associated vehicle, S. Red truck. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female. Black hair, brown eyes. Alexis has a scar below her right eye. She has a bump on her left pinky finger. Alexis's primary and secondary teeth are crowded, and her gums are dark in color. Her ears are pierced. Alexis's nicknames are Lexi and Pi. She is right-handed. Milwaukee Police Department. 414-935-7401 414-935-7302 Milwaukee County Sheriff's Department 414-278-4788. The disappearance of Britney Beers on September 16, 1997. Britney was playing outside her family's residence at Village Manor Apartments when her mother, Tina Stetler, left to run errands. Britney's half-brother reported seeing her sitting on a bench after their mother departed, and a witness saw Britney speaking to an unidentified male driving a red or brown midsize vehicle shortly thereafter. Britney has never been seen again. Stetler called Britney's brother to find her, but the child could not be located near the apartment complex. Police are still searching for the man, who is not being called a suspect but a witness whom they would like to question. In 1998, Michigan courts removed Britney's older brother and younger sister from the family's home due to allegations of child physical and sexual abuse and neglect. Britney's father, Raymond Beers, his brother, James Beers, and Kevin Folsom were allegedly involved in the abuse of the children. In 2000, Britney's case gained more publicity after the arrest of a St. Clair Shores, Michigan man who had images of child sexual abuse saved on his computer. One of the victims resembled Britney, but was later determined not to be the missing girl. In 2015, police named Daniel Furlong as a person of interest in Britney's abduction. Furlong abducted, sexually assaulted, and strangled an 11-year-old girl, Jodi Parak, in 2007. The murder was not solved until 2015, after Furlong abducted a 10-year-old girl who escaped from him. He subsequently confessed to the murder, pleaded guilty, and was sentenced to life in prison. Furlong bears a striking resemblance to the sketch of the man seen with Britney prior to her disappearance. His known crimes were similar to Britney's disappearance, and Jodi closely resembled her. He has maintained his innocence in her case, but remains one of the few persons of interest missing since September 16, 1997. Missing from Sturgis, Michigan. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race white, date of birth August 1, 1991, 32, age 6 years old, height and weight 4 feet 0 inches, 45 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a white tank top or t-shirt with a floral design, pink tie-dyed shorts and white sneakers with a pink design on the sides. Her shoelaces had a red stripe down the center. Associated vehicle: S, mid-sized red car or a brown Renault. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female, blonde hair, blue eyes. Britney was missing her 4 upper baby teeth at the time of her 1997 disappearance. She often wore her hair pulled back into a ponytail. Sturgis Police Department 269-651-3231. The disappearance of Bianca Jones. Bianca's father, DeAndre Lane, was driving his silver 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis in Detroit, Michigan on December 2, 2011, when the vehicle was carjacked at Brush and Custer Streets. Bianca was strapped in her car seat in the back of the car at the time. Lane said a black man driving a small red passenger car with possible front-end damage told him his own car's tail lights were broken. He pulled to the side of the road to check them, and then another man approached him, threatened him with a gun, and drove off in Lane's car, with Bianca still inside it. The thief is described as a 25 to 30-year-old African-American male, about 6 feet 0 inches and 185 pounds, and unshaven, wearing a black shirt, black pants, and a brown and black baseball cap. He didn't call 911 himself after the carjacking. Instead, he called a friend from his cellular phone and told him what happened, and the friend called 911. Authorities found Lane's vehicle only about 10 minutes later, still running, parked in an alley between Euclid and Philadelphia. There was no sign of Bianca at the scene. She has never been heard from again, and an extensive search of the city turned up no sign of her. Bianca's parents were separated at the time of her disappearance, but they had known each other since childhood. Lane lived in the 19,300 block of Mitchell, on the west side of Detroit. Bianca lived with her mother, Banica Jones, and her older sister, but both girls were staying with Lane on the day Bianca disappeared. After he reported her abduction, Lane was taken into custody on an unrelated charge of violating the protective order his ex-wife had against him. He was released 3 days later. Authorities searched his house 4 times with his consent, finding a significant amount of evidence. A cadaver dog detected the scent of human remains in a bedroom at Lane's house, as well as in his car and on Bianca's car seat and her blanket. Less than 2 weeks after the reported carjacking, investigators told the media they expected to file criminal charges against Lane in his daughter's disappearance. In March 2012, Lane was charged with first-degree felony murder, first-degree child abuse, and being a habitual offender. Investigators believe he beat Bianca to death the night before her disappearance after she wet the bed. Bianca has never been found missing since. December 2, 2011. Missing from Detroit, Michigan. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race black, date of birth November 26, 2009, 14, age 2 years old, height and weight 2 feet 5 inches, 25 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a purple or pink jacket with gold piping and rhinestones or beads, a pink shirt, pink tights, and pink shoes. Associated vehicle: silver 2004 Mercury Grand Marquis, accounted for, small red passenger car with possible front end damage. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female, black hair, brown eyes. Bianca's nicknames are Bacon and BB. At the time of her disappearance, her hair was styled in 2 braided ponytails with multicolored beads woven in. She has a dimple on her left cheek, a nickel-sized circular birthmark on the right side of her lower back, and a scar under her left big toe. Her right leg is slightly bowed. Detroit Police Department 313-596-2170. The disappearance of Myra Lewis. Myra was last seen playing outside her home in Camden, Mississippi on March 1, 2014. Her mother left to go to the grocery store, and her sisters were instructed to go inside. Myra was missing until 3 p.m., and after an hour of searching, her parents called the police. No sign of the child was found, and little information is available in her case. Myra is still missing and her case remains unsolved. Missing since March 1, 2014. Missing from Camden, Mississippi. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race black, date of birth November 30, 2011, 12, age 2 years old, height and weight 2 feet 10 inches, 27 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a turquoise sweater with the image of a bear on the front, off-white or khaki pants, and pink sneakers. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female, black hair, brown eyes. Madison County Sheriff's Office 601-859-2345. Mississippi Highway Patrol 855-642-5378. The disappearance of Ariana Fitz. Nicole Fitz, the mother of Ariana, disappeared from San Francisco, California on April 1, 2016. She was last seen after her shift at Best Buy on Harrison Street. Later that day, she exchanged text messages with relatives, claiming to be going to Fresno, California with a friend named Sam. Her family was puzzled by this, as she didn't know anyone named Sam and didn't have a car. On April 2, Nicole posted a post on Facebook, which her family believes was inappropriate, as Ariana was 2 years old. Nicole's body was found in a shallow grave in McLaren Park, covered by a piece of plywood with a spray-painted symbol. Police announced they thought Ariana was at risk after Nicole was found murdered. Nicole, a single mother, was struggling financially before her death. She lived in a homeless shelter and sent her older daughter to live with the child's father in Southern California. Nicole met Limasani Briggs, a street pastor who invited her and Ariana to live with her. Nicole paid Briggs money for rent and babysitting Ariana, but switched babysitters to Ciala Hearn, Briggs's niece. Briggs was abusive to Nicole, never gave her a key to their shared residence, read her private diary, and sent text messages calling her names. Niece moved to Santa Cruz, where she worked long hours and stayed with various friends. She often left Ariana with Ciala Hearn and Helena Martin, Briggs's nieces, and Devin Martin, who lived on Castro Street in Oakland, California. A coworker offered them a place to stay, but Ariana's babysitters refused to let her go. Police stated Hearn and the Martins were refusing to cooperate with the investigation and provided inconsistent statements. Ariana's family hopes she is still alive and being cared for. Missing since February 1, 2016. Missing from Oakland, California. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race black, date of birth September 6, 2013, 10, age 2 years old, height and weight 2 feet 0 inches, 45 pounds. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female. Black hair, brown eyes. San Francisco Police Department 415-553-0123. Federal Bureau of Investigation 415-553-7400. The disappearance: Arden Pipion. Arden, a young girl, disappeared near the Two Medicine River in Browning, Montana, on April 22, 2021. She was with her uncle Ha-Hax Viley and his girlfriend Kimberly Higgins. Viley noticed Arden's disappearance while reloading his gun and noticed her footprints. After 5 to 6 hours, law enforcement was notified. A search of the area found footprints matching Arden's shoes, and divers found a boot believed to be hers on April 25. Both Viley and Higgins were charged with child neglect and negligent endangerment, with Viley pleading guilty to 1 count and receiving a 9-month suspended sentence. The charge against Higgins was dropped, and authorities believe Arden may have drowned. Authorities still hope to recover her body, but it has never been found. Authorities believe Arden may have drowned and are working to find her body. Missing since April 22, 2021. Missing from Browning, Montana. Classification: lost/injured. Missing sex: female, race Native American, date of birth September 5, 2017, 6, age 3 years old, height and weight 3 feet 0 inches, 31 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a gray hooded pullover sweatshirt with the word Glacier on the front in red ink. A photo of it is posted with this case summary. Many accounts incorrectly state Arden was last seen wearing a purple jacket with a unicorn design on the front, a gray sweater, black leggings, and black boots with green trim. Distinguishing characteristics: Native American female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Arden is an enrolled member of the Blackfeet tribe of the Blackfeet Indian Reservation of Montana. Her nickname is Artie. Her ears are pierced. Blackfeet Tribal Police Department 406-338-4000. The disappearance of Aaron Anderson. Aaron was last seen playing in his family's yard at approximately 4:30 p.m. on April 7, 1989 in Pine City, Minnesota. His mother left him unattended for a couple of minutes and he disappeared. He has never been seen again and an extensive search of the area turned up no signs of him. Aaron's family's residence bordered the Snake River. Authorities believe the child may have fallen in the water and drowned. However, Aaron's parents believe their son was abducted. They have criticized the police investigation into the child's disappearance. Investigators admitted they focused on the drowning theory and ignored over 20 leads pointing to other possibilities. Aaron's parents moved to St. Paul, Minnesota after his disappearance and continue to search for their son. His case remains open and unsolved. Missing since April 7, 1989. Missing from Pine City, Minnesota. Classification: non-family. Abduction: sex, male, race white, date of birth June 23, 1987, 36, age 1 year old, height and weight 2 feet 4 inches, 32 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a Pampers diaper, a half-red, half-yellow sweatshirt with a puffy dinosaur on the front, light gray corduroy pants with red checked flannel lining and cuffs, a gray ski jacket with red and green tabs, a white knit hat with green snowflakes and green ear flaps, brown plastic snowmobile boots with nylon tops and liners, and possibly gray socks. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Light brown hair, brown eyes. Aaron has a small white birthmark on the lower right side of his abdomen. His head is enlarged. Pine County Sheriff's Office 320-629-3930. The disappearance of Ember Graham. Ember, a baby girl, disappeared on July 2, 2015, in Happy Valley, California. Her father, Matthew Ryan Graham, claimed to have left her asleep in her playpen at his home and smoked marijuana all night before calling 911. He was arrested for probation violation due to his drug use but was released a few days later. Authorities found his story inconsistent. He didn't seem interested in finding her, and they couldn't find any credible evidence to support his claim that a stranger had abducted Ember. Matthew kept Ember's playpen in a remote camp trailer on his property, which was gated and had guard dogs. The door to the trailer was broken and needed to be opened with a screwdriver. Matthew admitted to having smoked marijuana that night, which was a violation of his probation and the reason he was arrested. Surveillance video footage from a nearby convenience store showed Matthew driving there in his truck that night, taking Ember into the store, pumping gas, and driving away with her in the opposite direction from his home. On July 10, a pacifier was found off Platina Road in the remote Ono, California area, and DNA testing determined Ember's DNA was on the pacifier. On July 11, Matthew stole his mother's cellular phone, some cash from her purse, and a semi-automatic handgun, and fled. 3 days later, he was killed in a police shootout in Dunsmuir, California after he carjacked a vehicle. A few days later, authorities found a backpack belonging to Matthew in a wooded area about 250 yards from his home on Cottage Avenue. Police found various items inside the backpack, but nothing with any evidentiary value. Ember's case remains unsolved, and authorities believe Matthew is the sole person of interest in her disappearance. Missing since July 2, 2015. Missing from Happy Valley, California. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: December 19, 2014. 9. Age: 6 months old. Height and weight: 2 feet 1 inch, 15 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a size 2 Kirkland diaper. Medical conditions: Ember has epilepsy and previously required hospitalization for seizures. She needs to take anti-seizure medication twice a day. Associated vehicle: S, gray or black pickup truck, accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Shasta County Sheriff's Office 530-245-6025. The disappearance of Ashani Craigton. Ashani, a girl who disappeared in 1997, was abducted by her non-custodial grandparents, Ernest S. Jackson and Kaya Jackson, also known as Ernest and Abiola Anderson. The Jacksons moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1998, and Ashani's last confirmed sighting occurred around that time. In October 2000, Ashani's grandparents were arrested for child abuse charges related to their 8-year-old son's abuse in 1988. The child ran away from home and was disoriented, covered in burns and injuries. His parents allegedly beat him, and he had scars all over his body. The Jacksons' children were located in Oklahoma when Ernest and Kaya were arrested, but Ashani was not with them at the time of their arrest. Kaya was convicted and sentenced to 35 years in prison, while Ernest was acquitted twice. In 2002, he was convicted of aggravated assault and child endangerment involving another child in New Jersey and sentenced to 12 years in prison. He was released in 2009. Ashani's grandparents are the prime suspects in her disappearance. Investigators believe she was murdered in Florida in 1999, and her body was taken to Oklahoma and buried in the Tulsa area. The Jacksons have refused to be interviewed about Ashani's case and have never been charged in connection with it. Her case remains unsolved. Missing since March 21, 1997. Missing from Orlando, Florida. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: black. Date of birth: August 16, 1992. 31. Age: 4 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 0 inches, 50 pounds. Distinguishing characteristics: African American female. Black hair. Brown eyes. Ashani's ears are pierced. She may be known by her middle name, Karen, or use the first name Ashanti. Orange County Sheriff's Office 407-836-4357. The disappearance of Vanessa Morales. Vanessa Morales, a Connecticut girl, was last seen in Ansonia, Connecticut on November 29, 2019. She lived with her mother, Christine Holloway, on Myrtle Street. On December 2, Christine didn't show up for work and no one was able to get in touch with her. The police were sent to Christine's home on Myrtle Avenue to do a welfare check and found her body in the bathtub, beaten to death. There was no sign of Vanessa and she has never been heard from again. Vanessa's father, Jose Morales, was dating Christine at the time of her death and was arrested for an unrelated firearms charge. He was named as a suspect in Christine's murder and charged with murder and evidence tampering in her case. Jose is the last person known to have been with Vanessa and denies any involvement in her case or Christine's death. Jose told investigators he was in the bathroom at the Myrtle Avenue residence when he saw two men running towards the front door. He was under the influence of the drug PCP at the time and tried to call 911 but was punched in the face and knocked out. The next thing he remembered was driving to his residence in New Haven, Connecticut. According to neighbors, Jose left Christine's home only about half an hour before the police arrived to check on her welfare and found her body. A day earlier, Jose's car had been seen on video surveillance footage near a clothing donation bin in Derby, Connecticut. Workers sorting items in the bin found several blood-stained items, including a puzzle, a man's shirt, and a children's book. Some of Vanessa's belongings were never found, and Christine's phone, an iPhone 8 with a black case, is also missing. Vanessa's case remains unsolved. Missing since November 29, 2019. Missing from Ansonia, Connecticut. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: September 7, 2018. 5. Age: 1 year old. Height and weight: 2 feet 0 inches, 17 pounds. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Ansonia Police Department 203-735-1885. The disappearance of Amanda Campbell. Amanda, a missing girl from Fairfield, California, was last seen near her family's residence on December 27, 1991. She had left her brother and a friend to ride her bicycle to another friend's house around the corner, 8 doors from her home. Amanda never arrived and has not been seen again. Her bicycle was found abandoned a few blocks from her home later that evening. An extensive search of the area failed to locate Amanda. A pair of child-sized blue socks were located in the street, but it is unknown if they belonged to Amanda. Authorities believe she was pulled into a vehicle, probably at Larchmont Drive and Salisbury Drive. One possible suspect in Amanda's disappearance is Timothy Bindner, who was also investigated for possible connection to the disappearance of Eileen Mishloff. He was never charged in any of the case, maintains his innocence, and successfully sued Amanda's hometown of Fairfield in 1997 for defamation of character. For many years, Bindner was also considered a suspect in the 1988 disappearances of Amber Swartz Garcia from Pinole, California, and Michaela Garecht from Fremont, California. Bindner approached many of the mothers of missing girls from the East Bay area offering his assistance, including Amber and Michaela's families. Investigators asked Amber's mother to maintain a quasi-friendship with Bindner in hope of learning if he was connected to any of the girls' cases. She and authorities agreed that Bindner appeared to playing mind games with victims' loved ones and law enforcement. Curtis Dean Anderson, convicted of the 2000 kidnapping and molestation of a young California girl, was also mentioned as a possible suspect in Amanda's case. Investigators searched Anderson's mother's residence in June 2001 for evidence linking him to other missing girls' cases, but nothing was located. In August 2023, 83-year-old former pastor David Zanstra was named a possible suspect in Amanda's case after he was arrested for the 1975 murder of an 8-year-old girl in Philadelphia and confessed to the crime. In December 2023, authorities announced they had cleared him of involvement in Amanda's case. Missing since December 27, 1991. Missing from Fairfield, California. Classification: non-family. Abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: May 7, 1987. 37, age 4 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 5 inches, 59 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a pink nylon jacket with the sleeves too short, purple corduroy pants, a dark purple short-sleeved shirt, white sneakers with pink trim, and Santa Claus earrings. Associated vehicle: bicycle, accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Amanda's nickname is Nikki. She has facial dimple and light brown moles on her forehead and near her nose, and her ears are pierced. She occasionally develops a rash around her mouth. Fairfield Police Department 707-428-7355. The disappearance of Brandy Myers. Brandy Myers was last seen in Phoenix, Arizona, on May 26, 1992, selling items for a school readathon fundraiser. She disappeared without any further contact. The day after Brandy disappeared, authorities found another teenage girl's body in the Central Arizona Project Canal, a 16-year-old named Shannon Amick. Shannon was found in the same area as Brandy, and they were in roughly the same age group. Brandy was last seen 2 doors down from Brian Patrick Miller's residence. Miller was charged with first-degree murder, kidnapping, sexual assault, and attempted sexual assault in the deaths of Melanie Bernas and Angela Brasso in 1992 and 1993. DNA links Miller to the crime and is considered a suspect in Shannon Amick's murder. Police asked the prosecution to charge Miller with Brandy's murder, but prosecutors declined due to insufficient evidence. Miller has a record of violent offenses dating back to 1989, and if convicted, he could be sentenced to death. Brandy's mother describes her as a trusting and naive teenager, and she believes her daughter may have been attacked by someone she knew. The case remains unsolved, and foul play is suspected due to the circumstances involved. Missing since May 26, 1992. Missing from Phoenix, Arizona. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: March 13, 1979. 45. Age: 13 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 9 inches, 4 feet 10 inches, 75 to 85 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a green t-shirt, a denim skirt, white socks, and size 6 pink and white high-top Pro King sneakers. Medical conditions: Brandy has been diagnosed with brain damage. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Brandy has scars on her upper left knee and on her cheek, and pierced ears. She has an oval-shaped strawberry birthmark. She wears pink and yellow eyeglasses. Phoenix Police Department 602-261-8042. The disappearance of Zachary Michael Cole Bernhard. Zachary Bernhard, a third grader living with his mother in Clearwater, Florida, disappeared on September 11, 2000. Hackett claimed to have insomnia and left the apartment she shared with her son at around 2 a.m. when Zachary was asleep. He disappeared from their residence by the time she returned home, and has never been seen again. Authorities initially believed Hackett knew more about her son's disappearance than she had disclosed. She frequently changed residences and was facing eviction at the time of Zachary's disappearance. An extensive search of the area produced no evidence as to Zachary's whereabouts. Authorities believe he disappeared under suspicious circumstances. Kevin Jalbert, who resides near Zachary's home, told an acquaintance that he was a child murderer and was prepared to find another victim in early 2001. Authorities learned about Jalbert's comments and began tracking his movements. He attempted to solicit an undercover officer for assistance in a child abduction, rape, and murder case in September 2001. He was arrested shortly afterwards and later sentenced to 40 years in prison. Jalbert claims he has abducted and raped 1,000 children and killed 5. He led the undercover police officer to Zachary's apartment building and said he had kidnapped a child from there, but pointed out the wrong apartment and described Zachary's clothing incorrectly. DNA samples from Jalbert did not match available evidence in Zachary's case. In January 2002, a 5-year-old boy was kidnapped from the same apartment complex Zachary disappeared from. The boy may have been sexually assaulted. Investigators looked into the possibility that the 2002 kidnapping and the Bernhard case were connected, but found no evidence to support this. The 2002 kidnapping remains unsolved. Missing since September 11, 2000. Missing from Clearwater, Florida. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: December 18, 1991. 32. Age: 8 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 6 inches, 60 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: boxer shorts. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Zachary has scars under his chin, between on his eyes, on the bridge of his nose, and on the right side of his upper lip. His nickname is Zach. It may be spelled Zach. Some agencies may refer to him as Zachary Michael Bernhard. Clearwater Police Department 727-562-4422. The disappearance of Lisa Irwin. Lisa Irwin, an 11-month-old girl, disappeared from her Kansas City, Missouri home on October 4, 2011. Her parents, Deborah Bradley and Jeremy Irwin, were home with their children when Lisa went missing. On the day of Lisa's disappearance, Jeremy returned home from his job as an electrician and was seen shopping at a supermarket with Deborah and her brother. Deborah found a stray kitten and placed 3 cell phones on the kitchen counter, which were shut off due to non-payment. Deborah placed a call to a woman named Megan, but detectives could not find a connection between Jeremy and Deborah. An eyewitness claimed that a person who lived in the same house as Megan picked up her phone, giving authorities a fake name. Upon discovering Lisa missing, a witness reported seeing a man walking with a baby in cold weather. Police responded to a nearby dumpster fire and found evidence of burnt baby clothes, which they believe could be other clothing owned by Lisa. Deborah took a polygraph test, which was later revealed to be an interrogation tactic. On October 17, 2011, the FBI executed a search warrant on Lisa's home, bringing in cadaver dogs and obtaining items such as a multicolor comforter, purple shorts, a Disney character shirt, a glowworm toy, a Cars-themed blanket, rolls of tape, and a tape dispenser. The case remains unsolved, and her parents have not been formally charged in connection to Lisa's disappearance. Missing since October 3, 2011. Missing from Kansas City, Missouri. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: November 11, 2010. 13, age 10 months old. Height and weight 2 feet 6 inches, 30 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: purple pants or shorts and a purple shirt with images of white kittens. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Lisa has a birthmark on her right outer thigh. 2 of her bottom teeth had erupted by the time of her disappearance, and she had a small bug bite under her left ear. Her nickname is Pumpkin Pie. Kansas City Police Department 816-474-8477. The disappearance of Kristen Hatfield. Kirsten was last seen inside her family's residence in the 1100 block of Jet Drive in Midwest City, Oklahoma on May 13, 1997. She was in her bedroom with her 3-year-old sister at approximately 11:30 p.m. when her mother put her to bed. Her mother checked the bedroom again between 6 o'clock and 6:30 a.m. on May 14 and discovered that Kirsten was missing. Small amounts of blood were discovered on the room's windowsill and on the backyard's 6-foot cyclone fence. The bedroom window was cracked open and Kirsten's ripped, blood-stained underpants were located in the backyard. There was no sign of her and she has not been seen again. In October 2015, Anthony Joseph Palma was arrested and charged with Kirsten's abduction and murder. Palma lived 2 doors down from Kirsten's home at the time of her disappearance and was still living there at the time of his arrest. Authorities matched his DNA to the blood found on Kirsten's bedroom windowsill and underwear, suggesting Kirsten was kidnapped for sexual assault and murdered shortly after her abduction. Palma was convicted of breaking into a woman's home and assaulting her in 1982 and possibly sexually abused an 8-year-old girl in 1979 or 1980. He was not charged in the case due to lack of evidence. In 1998, a woman who lived with Palma accused him of drugging and raping her, but he wasn't charged in that case either. The prosecution presented DNA evidence at Palma's trial in October 2017, and multiple witnesses testified that they had been sexually victimized by him as children. He maintained his innocence, but was convicted of murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. In January 2019, Palma was murdered in prison. Missing since May 14, 1997. Missing from Midwest City, Oklahoma. Classification: non-family. Abduction: sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: February 12, 1989. 35, age 8 years old. Height and weight 4 feet 2 inches, 55 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: an adult size white t-shirt with the phrase Bud Bowl imprinted on the front. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Kirsten has a mole on the bridge of her nose near her left eye, and a discoloration on her neck. Her 2 upper front teeth are permanent and her ears are pierced. Kirsten stuttered when she spoke at the time of her 1997 disappearance, and she is left-handed. Her nickname is Curdle Birdle. Midwest City Police Department 405-739-1330. The disappearance of Amanda Brown. Amanda's mother, Catherine Hartman, met Willie Seth Crane Jr. at a bar in Tampa, Florida in mid-September 1998. They visited Crane's trailer and watched the movie Titanic. Hartman claimed to have caught Crane alone in his bedroom with Amanda, who was apparently intoxicated at the time. She separated her daughter from Crane and drove to their mobile home in the 10,900 block of Old Hillsborough Avenue. Amanda went to bed in her mother's bed, and Hartman joined her at 2:30. Crane followed them inside and drew some pictures with Amanda. Amanda took a shower and changed into her nightgown before going to bed. Hartman invited Crane to stay the night and sober up. Amanda did not go to bed until approximately 2:15 a.m., and she went to sleep in her mother's bed, and Hartman joined her at 2:30. Crane got into bed with them, still dressed and wearing his shoes, and the adults fell asleep with Amanda between them. Hartman called Crane to ask what he had done with her, but Crane said he had nothing to do with her disappearance. He suggested Hartman call his daughter, who was her friend and had introduced her to Crane, but he never did. Hartman called the police. After speaking with Crane, and Amanda has never been heard from again. Amanda's father, Ron Brown, was briefly considered a suspect in her disappearance. He and Hartman never married and lived with his wife in Lakeland, Florida in 1998. Ron's relationship with Hartman was contentious, and she had accused him of molesting the child and threatening to kidnap Amanda. However, Ron was cleared of suspicion in Amanda's disappearance, and the investigation focused on Crane. Crane had a criminal history dating back to 1969, having been convicted of 3 counts of sexual battery on a child and serving 6 years of a 20-year prison sentence. He was later charged with Amanda's murder. Investigators believe that Crane, a commercial crab fisherman, dumped Amanda's body in one of his frequent fishing areas after sexually assaulting and murdering her. Crane denied the charges, but was found guilty in 1999 and sentenced to death. His victims from the 1985 cases were allowed to testify at the penalty phase of his trial. He is currently on Florida's death row, but he is suffering from colon cancer and may not live long enough to be executed. Amanda was a second-grade student at Lopez Elementary School at the time of her disappearance. She has never been located. Missing since September 11, 1998. Missing from Tampa, Florida. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: March 13, 1991. 33. Age: 7 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 4 inches, 45 pounds. Clothing/jewelry. Description: a blue and white nightgown. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Amanda has scars on her forehead. Her ears are pierced. Her nickname is Mandy. Hillsborough County Sheriff's Office 813-247-8601. The disappearance of Amber Barker. Amber, a 4th-grade student at James Monroe Elementary School, disappeared on December 18, 1997, in her hometown of Oklahoma City. Her mother called her to come home and she left her friend's residence. Amber was last seen riding her blue 10-speed bicycle in the 3000 block of Northwest 45th Street. Her bicycle was discovered abandoned in Denniston Park in Oklahoma City on December 19, the day following her disappearance. Amber's sweater, shoes, 1 sock, and a ring were found along Drexel Boulevard and Northwest 12th Street on December 20. Investigators found blood, hair, and fiber evidence near Amber's possessions, including blue fibers on her sweater and vomit mixed with possible ejaculate. Authorities formed a partial DNA profile for an unknown man from the evidence on the sweater. Daniel John Smith, Amber's sister's common-law husband, was previously convicted of attempted kidnapping in 1995 and was sentenced to a 5-year deferred prison sentence and 4 months at a boot camp. Amber's sister claimed that Smith hit her after refusing his sexual advances. He was given a citation by authorities but was not arrested. Amber called her mother to say she was returning home and he left the residence immediately after. Smith was questioned about Amber on the day after her disappearance, but he was discovered hanged from a tree in Ray Trent Park in Del City, Oklahoma at 11:30 p.m. on December 22, 1997, 4 days after Amber was last seen. His death was ruled a suicide. Amber's disappearance remains unsolved, as she was a fourth-grade student at James Monroe Elementary School at the time of her disappearance. Her family stated she wasn't having any personal problems or history as a runaway. One of Amber's sisters died in 2013, and her mother died in 2014. Foul play is suspected due to the circumstances involved in her case. Missing since December 18, 1997. Missing from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female, race white, date of birth October 14, 1987, 36, age 10 years old, height and weight 4 feet 11 inches, 5 feet 0 inches, 70 to 80 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a long-sleeved beige shirt with a brown collar, light blue or black jeans and no excuses sneakers. Associated vehicle: blue 10-speed bicycle. Accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, brown eyes. Amber's ears are pierced. Her nickname is Ambi. Oklahoma City Police Department 405-297-1290. The disappearance of Bethany Markowski. Bethany Markowski, a daughter of Larry and Johnny Joe Markowski, disappeared in March 2001. The couple separated in January 2001, and Bethany lived with her mother in Nashville, Tennessee. On March 4, 2001, they met Johnny Joe at the Waverly, Tennessee exit off Interstate 40. They stopped at Old Hickory Mall in Jackson, Tennessee, where Larry told authorities that Bethany entered the mall alone while he slept in the vehicle. He awoke 1 hour later and searched for Bethany in the mall. He alerted law enforcement when he could not locate her. Bethany has never been heard from again. Investigators claim that Bethany is not seen on security camera videotapes filmed at Old Hickory Mall, and there is no proof that she entered the establishment. Larry has stated that he is not involved in her disappearance, but authorities have questioned his version of events. Johnny Joe said that she only wanted Bethany to return home. Several witnesses saw Bethany in the company of an unidentified Caucasian female shortly after her disappearance. The woman was described as approximately 42 to 44 years old, 5 feet 4 inches to 5 feet 5 inches and 185 pounds. She had dark circles under her brown eyes, frizzy and damaged blonde hair, and possibly a hangover. Authorities believe the woman attempted to enroll Bethany in a southeastern Tennessee school in April 2001, possibly traveling to Moline, Illinois. Both parents have not been ruled out as suspects, and her case remains unsolved. Missing since March 4, 2001. Missing from Jackson, Tennessee. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race white, date of birth February 1, 1990, 34, age 11 years old, height and weight 4 feet 8 inches, 5 feet 0 inches, 95 to 100 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a green t-shirt, blue or black jeans and black slip-on shoes. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, green eyes. Bethany was missing her top and bottom baby molars at the time of her 2001 disappearance. She bites her fingernails when she is nervous. Some agencies may spell Bethany's middle name Leanne. Her hair was styled shoulder length with bangs at the time of her disappearance. Bethany has a mole on her left breast and freckles on her cheeks and nose. Jackson Police Department 731-425-8400. Tennessee Bureau of Investigation 800-824-3463. The disappearance of Brandon Wade. Brandon and his mother, Paula, were last seen at their residence in Valdosta, Georgia, on October 14, 2002. They were reported missing when Paula failed to show up for work at Sam's Club and failed to call to inform them she would not be in. Paula's co-worker visited the residence twice, but no sign of her or her son was found. Paula's husband, a soldier stationed at Shaw Air Force Base in Sumter, South Carolina, has been ruled out as a suspect. However, Paula and Brandon's roommate has been allegedly uncooperative in the case, refusing to take a polygraph test and hiring a lawyer. An acquaintance of the roommates told police where he thought Paula and Brandon's remains might be, but nothing was found. Paula's family believes it would be uncharacteristic for her to leave without warning or miss work without notice. Paula had been approved for a transfer to a Sam's Club job in Kissimmee, Florida, and her family was supposed to help her prepare for the move. Brandon and Paula are considered endangered. They have not been seen or heard from since October 2002. Missing since October 14, 2002. Missing from Valdosta, Georgia. Classification: endangered. Missing. Sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: July 15, 1999. 24. Age: 3 years old. Height and weight: 2 feet 9 inches, 33 pounds. Medical conditions: Brandon has allergies which he requires medication for. He did not have his medicine with him when he disappeared. Associated vehicle: S. 1998 Chevrolet Blazer. Accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Brown hair, hazel/blue eyes. Brandon's nickname is Munchkin. Valdosta Police Department 229-242-2606. The disappearance of Leanna Warner. Leanna, a young girl, was last seen walking home from a friend's house in Chisholm, Illinois. Her mother, Tiffany Kaylin Warner, began searching for her at 5:30 p.m. and called the police when no sign of her was found. An extensive search by authorities, including helicopters and bloodhounds, failed to locate Leanna. Authorities have been leaning towards the view that she would have found her quickly had she wandered off. Tracker dogs traced her scent to the roadside edge but lost it after that. An unidentified man in his mid-30s was seen on foot in the neighborhood at the time of Leanna's disappearance. A maroon and blue two-door Cadillac driven by an African-American man in his 20s or 30s with a bald or shaven head, and an older model rusty brown pickup truck driven by a Caucasian man with black curly hair were also seen in the area. Neither the vehicles or their drivers have been identified. It is unknown whether any of them had anything to do with Leanna's apparent abduction. Matthew James Curtis, 24, was arrested in Chisholm in August 2003 for possession of child pornography charges which were unrelated to Leanna's case. He was interrogated several times about a possible connection to Leanna due to the nature of his alleged crime. Curtis was found dead in September 2003, suffocating himself with a plastic bag and being found in a gravel pit 8 or 9 miles outside of Chisholm. The investigation into his death has been closed and ruled a suicide. Police suspect foul play in Leanna's disappearance, but her parents were not asked to take lie detector tests and are not suspects. Leanna is described as an outgoing, precocious, and fearless child, with advanced survival instincts. Her mother died of cancer in 2022, but her father and 2 half-sisters are still active in the search for her. Leanna has never been found and her case remains unsolved. Missing since June 14, 2003. Missing from Chisholm, Minnesota. Classification: endangered. Missing. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: January 21, 1998. 26. Age: 5 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 0 inches, 3 feet 2 inches, 48 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a sleeveless dark blue denim dress, some agencies call it a shirt, with an attached belt, orange Hanes underwear, a flower-shaped earring with a red garnet in her right ear, and no shoes or socks. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, dark brown eyes. Leanna has a mole or wart just above her left ankle, and a dimple on the back of her left shoulder. Her nicknames are Beaner and Little Beaner. Her hair was cut in a shoulder-length bob at the time of her June 2003 disappearance, and her ears are pierced. Her name may be spelled as Leanna, Leanna, or Leanne, or she may be referred to as Leanna Marie Warner. Chisholm Police Department 218-254-7915. The disappearance of Sarah Skiba. Sarah was visiting her father, Paul Skiba, during the weekend of February 7, 1999 at his home in Thornton, Colorado. Paul and Sarah's mother, Michelle Russell, are divorced and it was Paul's scheduled visitation with his daughter at the time. Sarah resided in Granby, Colorado with her mother in 1999. Paul owned Tough Movers, a moving company based in Westminster, Colorado. He and Sarah were last seen at approximately 6 p.m. on February 7, 1999 in Morrison, Colorado. Sarah accompanied Paul and his employee, Lorenzo Chivers, to the city for a moving job at the time. None of them have been heard from again. DNA tests confirmed that the blood on the truck's door was Paul's, the blood on the ground outside was Paul's and Sarah's, the piece of scalp was from Paul, and the hair was Sarah's. Authorities changed the classification of missing persons cases to endangered missing and announced foul play was suspected in the disappearances. The truck's 3 by 10-foot metal loading ramp, straps, and moving blankets were missing, and authorities believe the ramp may contain evidence related to the cases. Investigators believe Chivers, Paul, and Sarah were ambushed and killed when they returned the truck to the lot. They believe Paul was the probable target and his daughter and Chivers were just in the wrong place at the wrong time. The murderer, S., may have used the moving truck to dispose of the bodies. Investigators dredged several lakes around the Denver, Colorado area in an effort to locate Sarah, Paul, and Chivers's remains, but no evidence was produced during the searches. It was believed that authorities were preparing to make an arrest in connection with the cases in August 1999, but the report proved to be false. No one has been charged with any involvement in any of the disappearances. Missing since February 7, 1999. Missing from Westminster, Colorado. Classification: endangered. Missing sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: July 27, 1989. 34. Age: 9 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 5 inches, 80 pounds. Associated vehicle: S. White 1978 Chevrolet moving truck with red crescents painted on both sides. Accounted for. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Blonde hair, hazel eyes. Sarah has a red mark across the bridge of her nose. Her hair was in tight corkscrew curls at the time of her disappearance, and she may wear it in a ponytail. Her last name is pronounced Skiba. Westminster Police Department 303-430-2400. The disappearance of Tristan Myers. Tristan moved to Roseboro, North Carolina in August 2000 to live with his great-aunt and great-uncle. He wandered away from his family's residence on October 5, 2000 while his great-aunt was napping and has never been heard from again. Tristan was accompanied by his dogs Sasha, a black Doberman puppy, and Buck, a tan three-legged Chihuahua mix, at the time of his disappearance. Tristan was taken to a psychiatric hospital, where doctors found him emotionally and physically underdeveloped. He could not understand simple directions and could only speak a few words. 3 days after being released from the hospital, Tristan wandered away from his guardian's home, and a neighbor found him half a mile away at a farm and returned him. 3 days later, he vanished for the final time. Tristan was born in Mississippi to a 15-year-old mother and an unknown father. His mother was killed in a car accident in Fayetteville, North Carolina. Tristan's grandparents initially had custody of him, but he was sent to live with other relatives after his grandfather ran over him in a drunk driving accident. A year later, he moved to Roseboro and disappeared. Authorities believe Tristan was either abducted by a stranger or fell into a pond and drowned. His case remains unsolved. Missing since October 5, 2000. Missing from Roseboro, North Carolina. Classification: non-family. Abduction: sex: male. Race: white. Date of birth: July 16, 1996. 27. Age: 4 years old. Height and weight: 3 feet 1 inch, 38 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a black t-shirt, blue jeans, and white Mickey Mouse sneakers. Medical conditions: Tristan may require medical attention, particularly psychiatric attention. He had severe behavioral problems at the time of his disappearance and was all thought to be suffering from attention deficit disorder, though the condition had not been formally diagnosed. He is described as emotionally and physically underdeveloped. Distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian male. Blonde hair, blue eyes. Tristan has scars on the left side of his neck and on the top of his head. He has a speech impediment. His leg has been previously broken. Tristan's nickname is Buddy. Some agencies spell his first name Tristan. Sampson County Sheriff's Office 910-592-4141. The disappearance of Trudy Appleby. Trudy, a girl from Moline, Illinois, disappeared on August 21, 1996, after her father reported her disappearance to work. She was found in a silver or gray 4-door box-style vehicle in her driveway. The driver was Caucasian and in his 20s, with curly brown or black hair. Trudy's father reported her disappearance when he could not find her again. Authorities believe Trudy may have known the vehicle's driver. Trudy's family's residence was off the main road and was not visible from the street. Her case was initially investigated as a possible runaway, but investigators now believe she was abducted. Trudy left approximately $200 behind, which her father said she saved for an upcoming vacation. William Ed Smith, a friend of Trudy's father, was identified as the prime suspect in 2017. Smith died in 2014, and a witness saw Trudy in his car, and Smith threatened to kill him if the witness told the police about this. Trudy was never seen again, and his car was scrapped within a week of her disappearance. Trudy's father theorized that Smith and Whipple took Trudy out on a boat on the Mississippi River, and something unexpected happened. Possibly an accident, leading to her death. Fisher, a lifelong friend of the Smith family, was named Trudy's case in 2020. Fisher was sentenced to 2 years in prison on an unrelated charge of auto theft in May 2021, and he is due to be released in 2026. Whipple, a registered sex offender, refused to cooperate with investigators in Trudy's disappearance. Police are appealing to anyone who might have seen suspicious activity in the areas of Camel's Island, Blackbird Island, Dynamite Island, or the boat launch at Empire Park in East Moline, Illinois on the day Trudy disappeared. Her case remains unsolved. Missing since August 21, 1996. Missing from Moline, Illinois. Classification: non-family abduction. Sex: female. Race: white. Date of birth: September 4, 1984. 39. Age: 11 years old. Height and weight: 4 feet 8 inches. 5 feet 0 inches, 75 to 85 pounds. Clothing/jewelry description: a shirt, black stretchy bicycle shorts, white socks, and dark blue Nike deck shoes with white shoelaces. Associated vehicle: silver or gray 4-door box-style vehicle, similar to a Chevrolet. Celebrity distinguishing characteristics: Caucasian female. Brown hair, blue/green eyes. Moline Police Department 309-797-0401.
Yeah. Everybody knows that I'm breaking down. Everybody knows I ain't faking now. Everybody knows my heart's vacant now. Yeah, she hates me now, I made mistakes but now I don't ever wanna be alone. I don't really ever feel at home. On my own, in the zone, that's the only way I know. Feeling low, about to blow back up. Here I won't ever let the doubt creep in. Gotta pop a couple more aspirin. I don't think I'll ever let you in. Easier to break it off best friends. I don't really understand myself. I don't really understand, need help. I don't wanna be left on the shelf. Couldn't even hear me if I yelled. It's so cold outside, I'm alone, I'm alright. It's so cold outside, I'm alone.